This altar was made from a single massive slab of stone. That's why it remained more or less unscathed throughout the centuries. There's a light blue stone stuck in the wall. How odd. It appears to be different from all the others. This stone is loose. Just a little yank. My mother always used to say, "Don't go playing in ramshackle buildings, dear." Oh, she was so right. Just what is this place? This probably used to be the entrance. Crashing through the ceiling wasn't necessary back then. By the time I free up that passage, I will be old and gray. There's a cold draft coming from that crack. I wonder what's behind it. I can't even get my fingers in there, and I can't really imagine being able to open a massive stone door with my hands. It says Institio Finis Viae Est. If I remember my school Latin right, it probably means something like standing still is the end of the path. Ah, some of the letters can be turned. This is the way back up to the ruins. So how will I get out of here? Wait a moment. I have a plan. A plan that has proven its worth for thousands of years. It's sophisticated and elaborate, the perfect rescue scheme. Let's see whether it works here.
Help! Help! Get me out of here! Help!
Anybody there? Hello?
I'm here! Down here! Help me!
How on earth did you get down there?
The floor just gave way beneath me. If you don't mind, I'd really like to continue this conversation above ground. Do you think you could get me out of here somehow?
Wait, I've got an idea.
Thank you so much. You probably saved my life.
It was my pleasure. Anytime.
I'm interested in this old chapel. I wanted to take a closer look, but obviously there isn't much left of it.
No, it was largely destroyed during an air raid in World War II. But maybe I can help you?
You?
Yes, me. With nothing to do all day, you have to keep yourself occupied somehow. And I occupy myself with history.
Excellent. Then maybe you can tell me something about Cardinal Coubertin. He had this chapel built, didn't he?
Yes, he did. But there isn't a whole lot we know about him. All the records kept while he was in office are stored in his archives.
And where are they?
Who knows? They searched high and low after his death, but they haven't been found to this day. Nobody even remembers where he was buried. All I know is that he had a curator who took care of his legacy following his death in 1663. The curator died 10 years later. They found his body in his squalid basement dwelling after he had been dead for a week. He should be buried in this cemetery as well, but I have no idea as to where exactly. I don't even really know his name. I think it was Michel or something like that.
Well, at least it's a start. Not much to go on, but better than nothing. Are there no further clues?
Not really. He was barely known around here. Cardinal Coubertin brought him back from one of his journeys. He wasn't a local man. Also, he hardly ever went out, and when he did, he was heavily covered up, which soon led to wild speculation amongst the locals. He served the cardinal for almost 40 years.
Okay. I'll take another look around here. Thanks again for the rescue and the brief history lesson.
It was my pleasure. I'll be here for a while yet, so if you have any more questions...
This chapel has me stumped. I need some additional hints. Maybe I should try to find the curator's grave first. I'm just going to take a look around.
You do that.
The stone is light blue, and it shows the image of a white king. He's filthy and in rags, but he seems to be nice enough. There's something vaguely familiar about him. They call this model the Duck. A compost heap. All right. Here I go again, rummaging through dirt. There isn't much left of the old chapel. An old wooden stick. A candle burned down halfway. Hello. There's something else I think you might be able to help me with.
No problem. What is it?
What you said about the Cardinal's curator?
Yes?
Could you please repeat it for me?
Of course.
Please don't leave anything out. Any information you can give me about the Cardinal and his environment might help.
All I know is that the curator took care of his legacy following his death in 1663. The curator died 10 years later. They found his body in his squalid basement dwelling after he had been dead for a week. He should be buried in this cemetery as well, but I have no idea as to where exactly. His name was Michel or something like that. Not really. He was barely known around here. Cardinal Coubertin brought him back from one of his journeys. He wasn't a local man. Also, he hardly ever went out, and when he did, he was heavily covered up, which soon led to wild speculation amongst the locals. He served the Cardinal for almost 40 years.
Great. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I'm just going to take a look around.
You do that.
I will go look for the grave of Michel the curator, then. It isn't much of a lead, but since he seems to have been rather close to Cardinal Coubertin, maybe there's some hope of finding something out that way. The path splits in 3 directions here. Graves from the 1650s, graves from the 1660s, and graves from the 1670s. Let's try this way. The graves here appear to be sorted by wealth. Poor on one side, rich on the other. Where do I go? Let's see what I find down this path. Oh my, they certainly have this thoroughly organized. They separated people who died young from those who passed away at a ripe old age. Let's go this way now. Yet another sorting criterion, but this appears to be the last. This time they distinguished between women, men, and families. Bureaucracy is obviously not a very recent invention. Now where does this path lead? Is this the right area? The Cardinal's curator would hardly have been a woman, or maybe, who knows? Michel, the curator, was actually a woman. No wonder she hardly ever went out in public, and was always so heavily covered up. If that had become known, I assume that when she was buried, this scandalous fact was discovered and hushed up. This is probably why her grave has been forgotten. I hope I can find a clue here and finally make some progress. truly a genius. But as usual, there is nobody around who could really appreciate that. There appears to be another room built into the rock by the far side of the abyss. Thanks to my famously positive attitude, I live in hopes that it is the archive we are looking for. I cannot get over there, but looking at all these safety precautions, I think I have good reason to hope that the archive is behind that wall. Seems to be an old map of what is France these days. There's a legend on the panel next to it. The king was in dire straits. He had withdrawn to Provence, and the options he had left did not bode well. The peasants were rising to the north, and the reinforcements from the Kingdom of Navarre, who had just crossed the border, were forced to go up against a massive fortress to the east. Meanwhile, his opponent sat back and eagerly watched the spectacle unfold from his country estate in Brittany. It fits. It almost looks like the stone came from this mosaic in the first place. I wonder whether there are any stones that fit in the remaining empty fields. Hello. There's something else I think you might be able to help me with.
No problem. What is it?
I found a mosaic in there, but a few of the stones are missing. I found a light blue stone up here in the altar chamber that matches the mosaic perfectly. I suspect there might be more stones like it. Maybe the same strange shade of blue. Do you have any idea where I might find stones like this?
No, not really.
Well, I guess that would have been too easy.
Stop. Wait. I just thought of something. Many buildings around here were destroyed during World War II air raids.
Yes?
All stones from the derelict buildings that were still halfway usable were used for rebuilding, including those from this church.
Rebuilding what?
Well, first, there is a little bridge not far from here. Then, the old metro station. And the jail, I think.
Great. In that case...
Oh, yes, and the zoo.
That's a lot of buildings. Any idea where I should look first?
They were all built pretty much at the same time. But at least you needn't try the zoo right now, because it is still closed.
Okay, I'll save it for later then. Can you tell me how to get to these places?
I've got this tourist info map that I can give you. Wait, let me mark the relevant sites for you.
I'll go hunting for the missing blue stones then. I think I'll start with the bridge. It's supposed to be close to here. Interesting phenomenon. A local rain shower that stops right in the middle of the bridge. The idle street cleaner may be slightly less impressive, but at least he's in harmony with the overall picture. Unfortunately, there's not a stone in sight that could fit into the mosaic. Maybe it's on the other, dirty side of the bridge. I don't know why, but I'm suddenly starting to wonder, do street cleaners count as civil servants? Hello?
Hi.
You're a street cleaner, right?
No, I am a molecular biologist collecting samples for scientific research.
Oh, I really thought you were... What kind of research?
Of course I am a street cleaner.
Oh, a comedian. I never knew street cleaners were so witty. Not that I've met all that many. The only time I've ever seen the streets swept completely clean was during a World Cup final.
Touché.
Surely while sweeping you would have noticed if a blue stone had been built into this bridge, right?
Yes, indeed. If I had actually cleaned this bridge before.
Haven't you?
No, I'm just helping out. And there is no blue stone on this side of the bridge. I'm sure I would have noticed it after sweeping here for 4 hours.
Yes, you certainly would. Why are you still sweeping this side of the bridge? It's spotless, but the other side is completely filthy.
Have you looked over to the other side?
Yes. Why?
It is raining.
Such things are known to happen.
Indeed. So, I am waiting for it to stop.
You mean you're not sweeping the other side of the bridge because it's raining?
No, that would be silly.
I thought so.
I am not sweeping there because I would get wet.
Oh, and you think that's less silly?
Would you jump into a cesspit?
No, but...
You see, so why should I volunteer to get soaked? Especially when there are alternatives.
Which are?
I can continue to sweep here.
But it's clean here.
But not surgically clean.
What will you do if it starts to rain on this side, too?
Then I will be out of luck and get wet.
And then what?
Then I will sweep the other side of the bridge. After all, I will already be wet in that case.
And they tell me female logic is hard to understand. Why are you so scared of water?
I'm not. I'm just not keen on getting wet. Not as long as I can avoid it.
So it's not some childhood trauma?
Not that I know of. It's a professional hazard.
Getting wet?
Rain. You know, swing your broom, clouds will loom.
To think that I keep getting accused of having a penchant for puns and bad poetry. A heap of dirt, garbage, and rotting leaves. The street cleaner may not move terribly fast, but he sure does a thorough job. I gave up complaining about having to rummage through garbage a long time ago. Money. Mine for the picking. A pacifier. It's hardly a fortune, but with the right investment strategy, who knows? Unless I intend to go for the wet look, I should make sure I'm not standing close to this puddle when there's a car coming. Unlike the right half of the bridge, this part is really filthy. I haven't got the right equipment. I had better try to get the street cleaner to sweep over here. Ducks. How nice. A racy Italian sports car. It's got a pretty horse on its hood, and a not-so-pretty scratch. The car is secured by an alarm. I'm sure it will go off at the slightest touch, and since I'm the only one around here, I might actually get suspected. The clock has stopped. Ooh, it looks like that. Who cares about inner beauty? A very good morning to you.
Buongiorno, signorina. Allow me to introduce myself. Alessandro Rossi.
Nina Kalinkov, pleased to meet you. What is a good-looking Italian doing at an intersection in Paris?
I am waiting for the bus.
Oh, don't you have a car?
Yes, of course. It is over there.
Oh, the red sports car?
Yes. Are you impressed?
Well, yes, a little. So why are you waiting for the bus?
I am supposed to meet some friends here in their van. They don't know their way around Paris, so we want to go on together from here. The signs here are rather misleading, so most people take a wrong turn at this point. Why don't you come with us? There is always a room in my sports car.
Oh, yes. Why not? Oh, no, wait. I'm afraid I can't. There are some important things I must see to.
Too bad. But I will be here for a few more minutes in case you change your mind. Just let me know. You would miss out on a lot.
There's an ugly scratch on your car.
Mamma mia! Why did you have to remind me? I know. It is not easy to miss after all.
Sorry, I didn't realize.
I have been thinking of nothing else all morning. I wanted to impress my friends, so I rented this sports car.
You mean it doesn't belong to you?
No, but the scratch is all mine. I had only just picked up the car when disaster struck.
Take it easy. It's not that bad. After all, it's just a scratch. Amazing how fast a proud and attractive man can melt into a puddle of misery. This question may sound somewhat strange, but I don't suppose you've noticed a blue stone that was used for rebuilding any of the buildings around here?
You are right. That question does sound strange. However, even if there were a blue stone around here somewhere, I probably wouldn't have noticed.
I was afraid of that. I've got to go.
Too bad.
Just a regular storm drain. I can't stick my hand in there. The gaps are too narrow. And for some reason, the lid won't budge. I admire the power of nature to reclaim its own. I like teddy bears, but this one looks awfully mean and grumpy, and it smells like a polecat. The ceiling is painted. Impossible to see whether it contains one of the blue stones or not. The paint is peeling anyway. Maybe I'll be able to somehow remove it completely. I can't reach it. There's no water in it. It's a long time since anything was sold here. The sign says, "Help Wanted." I'll take this sign with me. If this game doesn't sell, then at least I will know where to look for a new job. The sign says, I don't really want to know just how old this bubblegum is. At least you're supposed to insert euro cents. Sure, money makes the world go round and nothing comes free, even if it only takes 10 cents to buy. There was a time when 5 cents bought you a whole pack of gum. Now that's not even enough for one piece. A somewhat battered umbrella with a very sharp point. It might still be of some use as a walking stick. The switch for the fountain is also in this switch box. I think I will switch on the fountain. Nothing happened. Not altogether surprising, since there's no water in the fountain. I had better switch that fountain off. This clockwork belongs to the clock that hangs on the outside wall of the metro station. I will try to get this clock up and running again. The mechanism appears to be out of order. I bet it will stop again in a moment. Why would I try to get a clock to run if I know it will stop again right away? No answer? Well, I'll leave it be then until I find one. The clock has stopped. An ingenious plan. I place it on the minute hand and wind up the clock. As the hand moves, it will slide off at some point, hit the car, and trigger the alarm. The only problem is this would really damage the car. Maybe I can think of something better. Great plan. I place it on the minute hand and wind up the clock. As the only problem is this thing isn't heavy enough. The alarm probably wouldn't go off at all. Not a bad idea. I place the candle on the minute hand and wind up the clock. As the hand moves, the candle will slide off at some point, hit the car, and trigger the alarm. I only need to make sure that I have an alibi for when it happens. A devilish plan which may cost me a lot of sympathy. If this were a computer game, it would probably be banned for being too violent. Unfortunately, though, this is not a game, but bitter reality. I'm on a mission to save the world, and a different set of laws applies for world saviors. So, here I go. Hello, are you still waiting?
Yes. I hope my friends did not get lost. What? But that is... My car! Stop! Wait! You're going in the wrong way! You need to turn here! Stop!
Ah, no! I'm completely soaked now!
That's what they call a chain reaction.
It is a disaster. Like my entire life, a total disaster.
Is it really so terrible that you missed your friends? Don't you think they'll find the right way anyway?
Yes, maybe. But it is a matter of principle. I can't do anything right. Everything keeps going wrong.
Cheer up. There will be better days.
I have been waiting in vain for years. Please excuse me. I need a few minutes to myself.
Oh my, he's really down in the dumps. I should follow him and make sure he does nothing rash. After all, I'm responsible for his mood, to some degree. Phew! I had been worried he might do something foolish. Oh, he looks pretty depressed. Hello, everything okay? I'm really worried about you.
Oh, hello. Yes, it's really not my day today. First, I scratch up my car and then I miss my appointment. They're probably halfway to Spain by now.
Oh, I'm afraid that I may be responsible for the missed appointment.
Is there anything I can do for you? Anything that might cheer you up?
That is very kind of you. But I've been chasing Lady Luck for years now. She is simply too fast for me. You cannot change fate, and that is that.
The poor guy is totally dejected. Nina, you need to think of something quick, or you'll end up only being offered roles as a movie villain. If I go away now and promise to come back soon, will you promise not to do anything stupid while I'm gone?
Sure, I wouldn't even have the energy.
A candle burned down halfway. Looks like the street cleaner knows how to work fast after all. The entire bridge is sparkling clean. Well, the van Mr. Rossi was waiting for took a wrong turn here, drove straight through the puddle and completely soaked the street cleaner. So he no longer had a reason not to sweep the rainy side of the bridge. Life is quite simple once you actually understand it. And here's the stone I was after. This is one of the missing stones from the mosaic in the ruined church. It depicts a pawn. The stone is lodged tightly in place. I can't remove it just like that. I might be able to use the point to scrape away the sand around it, and now use the umbrella as a lever. The The stone is mine.